Hi guys, it's Mack with In the Dark Room with Mack Photos. Thanks for stopping by for this episode where today I'm going to show you how to set up an action for split frequency or frequency separation in Photoshop. I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for joining me here over in Photoshop, where today I'm going to show you how to set up a split frequency or a frequency separation action. First thing we want to do is come over to our actions and create a new action. We're going to call this action frequency separation. And hit record. Depending on the system you're using, if you're on a Mac, it will be Command J. If you're on a PC, it will be Control J. But we want to hit Command or Control J to create a duplicate layer. We want to do this once more to create a second duplicate layer. On that first duplicate layer, we're going to rename it LF for low frequency. And for the second duplicate layer, we're going to call it HF for high frequency. Now, going back to our low frequency layer, we want to select it, hit Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. We're going to apply a Gaussian blur at 15 pixels. Next, go to the high frequency layer. We're going to go to Image, Apply Image, and to begin with, I want to say, let you know that I'm working in a 16-bit format in Photoshop, so my settings may vary if you're working in an 8-bit system, but I'll show you those settings after we've completed the walkthrough. So in the 16-bit format here, for layer, ensure that our layer is set to apply to the LF or low frequency layer. Channel will be RGB. If you're working in a 16-bit system, make sure that you do not check invert. You leave invert unchecked. The blending will be subtract, which our offset should be at 128. The opacity and scale should remain the same at 100% opacity and scale of 2. We click OK. Next, we want to change the blending mode of this high frequency layer from normal to linear light, and voila. Our image is back to its original look, the same as our original background layer. Lastly, what we want to do is ensure that we select the clone stamp tool here. Our sample is set to current layer, and that our flow is at 100%. Now we can stop the recording of our action. We've completed that action. And we'll click on it to activate it here. And so let's delete those layers that we've created and run our action. Okay, as the action runs, it's going to ask us to confirm a couple of things. Initially, it's going to ask us to confirm the Gaussian blur pixels. We hit OK. Next, it's going to ask us to confirm the apply image settings, and we hit OK. Your high frequency layers should be selected. Your clone stamp tool should be ready to go, and you can begin your cloning and healing with your clone stamp tool here. Again, I mentioned if you're working in an 8-bit form or format within Photoshop, the settings to the high frequency layer will be somewhat different. I'll show you those settings now. Make sure that when you're setting up the action, when you walk through the high frequency layer settings, select high frequency, image, apply image. Layer should be your LF or low frequency layer. Channel will be RGB, but you will select to invert your image. Your blending, instead of subtract, you will select add. This changes the offset to 0. Your opacity and scale will remain the same. Opacity at 100%, your scale at 1. Hit OK. Same as we did with the 16-bit, you will change your blending mode from normal to linear light. And that's how you'll set up your 8-bit frequency separation for that high frequency layer. I look forward to walking you through some use of the split frequency or frequency separation tool in upcoming episodes. Until then, we'll see you on the other side. As usual, I hope this episode has been beneficial, and I hope you've been able to add an additional tool to your arsenal of photo editing tools. Until the next time, get out there, get shooting, and remember, make every shot count.